He didn't lift the trophy. He didn't speak to the press. He didn't wave to the crowd. Ray Wilson, he marked his man, tracked the danger, held the line while history cheered the others. He played every minute of England's greatest triumph, and then quietly walked away. No headline, no celebration, just the job done. And the silence that followed. He wasn't the captain, he wasn't the goal scorer, but he was the shield on the left of that back four, and without him, the rest don't stand. No chant, no mural, not even a song. He gave them Wembley, they gave him forgetfulness. But not here, not this time, because Ray Wilson didn't want fame. He wanted one thing: to do it right, and now he deserves to be remembered right. Say his name before the silence takes it for good. Subscribe if you still believe that the quiet ones built the loudest victories. He was born on 17th December 1934 in Shirebrook, Derbyshire, a mining town where boys grew up fast and dreams didn't last long. His father worked the pits, his mother left early, the home broke before he did, and childhood taught him one thing: don't complain, just carry on. At 15, he left school and took a job on the railways, cleaning steam engines, fixing wagons, working with hands, not headlines. Football wasn't a career. It was what you did when the shift ended and your legs still had something left. But even then, in local matches, on rough pitches, there was something in the way he moved. No drama, no flair, just the calm of someone who knew where to be before anyone else did. 1952, aged 17. Huddersfield Town took a chance. No fanfare, no photo op, just a quiet contract and a new pair of boots. And for 3 years, nothing. No league debut, no big moment, just training, travel, waiting. He was too shy, too slight, too easily ignored. Most would have walked away, gone back to the rail yard, started over. But Ray Wilson didn't walk away. He stayed. He watched. He waited. And in 1955, someone finally looked again. Bill Shankly, then assistant at Huddersfield, saw a defender where others saw a passenger, shifted him to left back, and everything clicked. Suddenly, the quiet kid had a position that fit his silence. He could read the game, time the tackle, support the play, and never say a word. That year, he made his league debut. His first match came against Manchester United, a baptism by fire that taught him fast how to survive in English football. No headline, just the beginning of a career built not on noise but on never going away. He didn't burst onto the scene. He eased into it one tackle at a time. After 1955, Ray Wilson became a regular. Huddersfield Town wasn't winning titles, wasn't chasing spotlights, but Wilson showed up every Saturday unshaken, unshouted. By 1957, he was the first name on the team sheet. The kind of player managers trusted even if fans barely noticed. No tricks, no tantrums, just positioning, pace, and the kind of lungs that never needed applause to keep running. He played in the second division, but his game spoke louder than the league table. Clean tackles, simple passes, overlap when needed, recover when others didn't. Week after week, year after year, England called. On the 9th of April 1960, he made his debut against Scotland at Hampden Park. Not the press, not the papers, just the manager asking if he'd like to represent his country. He said yes, then turned up the same way he always did. Quiet, ready, and suddenly, the best left back in the country was still playing in the second tier. From 1960 to 1964, he kept his place for England while staying loyal to Huddersfield. Offers came. He stayed. The club needed him. And that was enough. 283 appearances, 12 years, no complaints, no moves. Ray Wilson didn't chase status. He built consistency. Not many noticed, but the ones who did knew exactly what he was becoming. A defender you never had to worry about, the kind you only miss after he's gone. By 1964, he was England's left back, but still in Division 2. It didn't make sense. To anyone but him, he never asked for more. But more finally came. Everton called, £40,000, a quiet transfer for the quietest elite in the game. He was nearly 30, not young, not flashy, just a fullback who never let you down. He went on to make 116 league appearances for Everton, steady, consistent, ever-present. At Goodison, they gave him a bigger stage, and he gave them what he always gave: stability, cover, silence behind the roar. The fans didn't chant his name, but the team moved better when he played. That was always enough. On 14th May 1966, Everton beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-2 at Wembley, their first cup since 1933. A comeback etched in Wembley history. Wilson played every minute. Didn't make headlines, didn't care. He had waited over a decade to stand on a stage like Wembley, and when he did, he didn't point to the skies. He just did his job, then walked off. 2 months later, he'd be back at Wembley. Only this time, the whole world would be watching. He didn't miss a minute. Not in the group stage, not in the semis, not in the final. Ray Wilson played every second of England's only World Cup win. He wasn't there to inspire headlines. He was there to make sure nobody got past him. That summer, England didn't play with wingers. Wilson became the width on the left. Overlap, recover, repeat, game after game, clean, reliable, unshaken. In the semi-final against Portugal, he surged forward late, set up the second goal. No roar, no celebration, just turned back into position. And then came 30th July 1966 Wembley Stadium. England versus West Germany. Ray Wilson was 31, the oldest man in England's starting 11. 8 minutes in a defensive header dropped awkwardly. Germany scored. Wilson took the blame. Didn't argue, didn't flinch. He just got tighter, sharper, more ruthless. From that moment on, his side of the pitch was silent. And when Uwe Seeler came forward, Wilson was there, quietly stopping him again and again. That day, he tracked Uwe Seeler, West Germany's danger man, and kept him quiet for 120 minutes. Seeler had scored in every World Cup he played in, but not that day. Wilson never gave him space. He locked it down and never looked back. The match went to extra time. The roar shook the capital. But Wilson, still calm, still there. Bobby Moore once said, "It was a comfort to play alongside him. He always looked good." Ray was world class. And when the final whistle blew and Bobby Moore lifted the trophy, Ray Wilson was there too. No quote, no lap of honor, just a handshake, a shirt swap, and the slow walk off the pitch he always called home. The glory came. But he never changed. No press circuit, no book deal, no stadium tour, just back to work. He stayed in the England squad, played in Euro 1968. His final England appearance came in the third-place match versus USSR, 8th June 1968. Still the first name at left back. In total, Ray Wilson earned 63 caps for England, more than any other left back in the country's World Cup winning era. But time doesn't wait, and knees don't forget. By 1969, injuries slowed him, and a new name, Terry Cooper, began to rise. Wilson never protested, never made a scene. He stepped aside quietly, gracefully, like he did everything else. At Everton, he remained the calm in defense, but the legs grew heavier, and younger men got the call. In 1969, he left Goodison. No testimonial, no farewell match. Testimonials weren't common back then, but for Ray, silence came too easily. Just a quiet goodbye and the next train out. He joined Oldham Athletic, dropped 2 divisions, didn't flinch, made 25 league appearances, still sprinted, still tackled, still kept the standard high. Then Bradford City in 1970-71, player, mentor, briefly caretaker manager. Just helping out, no ambition, no fuss. By 1971, the boots came off. No send-off, no banner, no chant. Just Ray Wilson walking away exactly like he walked onto the pitch. Without a sound, he left the pitch and didn't look back. No pundit chair, no coaching badges, no speaking tour. Ray Wilson became an undertaker. Gordon Banks recalled, "Ray would crack a joke, lighten the room. He had no ego, just heart." Huddersfield, the same town where he earned his first chance, is where he buried strangers with the same quiet precision he once used to mark wingers. He didn't wear medals, he wore a black suit, didn't carry stories, carried coffins. He didn't want the game to chase him, he wanted peace, he wanted purpose, and he found it among grieving families, whispered condolences, and the ritual of last goodbyes. For over 25 years, he ran the business. Never mentioned England, never talked about 1966, not unless you asked, and even then he said little. That was Ray. Never the hero in his own story, just the man who showed up when it mattered. In 2000, the honors finally came. He was appointed Member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE, in the 2000 New Year Honours for services to football. Not for one moment at Wembley, but for the life he lived after. Quiet dignity, unbroken loyalty, service without spotlight. The FA called him a role model. The media called him forgotten. He just called it life. He'd spent a lifetime quiet. But now, the silence wasn't his choice. In 2004, Ray Wilson was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. He wasn't alone. Other heroes from '66 like Nobby Stiles and Martin Peters would suffer the same decline. A quiet echo through the team that gave England its only star. The man who never asked for attention. The decline was slow but steady, taking even the memories that made him whole. He still went to Huddersfield games early on, sat in the stands, smiled politely, clapped when others clapped. But names faded, faces blurred. The great match England 4, Germany 2 began slipping away. By the end, even that summer of '66 was just a story someone else had told. His wife Pat stayed by his side. His son stood close. The game he gave everything to mostly stayed silent. On May 15, 2018, Ray Wilson passed away, aged 83 in a care home in Huddersfield. No national ceremony, no full-day tribute. But Everton and England released tributes, and players wore black armbands, quiet gestures for their quiet man. Just a few headlines, a few kind words, and then, as always, quiet. The man who gave England its safest left flank left the world the same way he played, with dignity, without demand, and barely a sound. He never asked to be remembered, but that doesn't mean we should forget. Ray Wilson didn't chase legacy. He guarded one. While others celebrated, he covered the gaps. While others lifted arms, he lowered his head and got back in position. He didn't roar. He didn't demand. He just stood where he was needed and stayed there longer than anyone expected. He was a miner's son, a railway worker. Ramon Wilson, but no one called him that. Just Ray. Always Ray. An undertaker. A World Cup winner. Norman Hunter later said, "When you saw Ray's name on the team sheet, you relaxed. He was pure class, and somehow still forgotten." There's no statue at Wembley, no chant in the terraces, no place in the everyday telling of England's golden summer. But maybe there should be, because greatness doesn't always shout. Sometimes it listens, it covers, it waits. And when the history books turn their page, you'll find Ray Wilson quietly standing in the corner, holding the line so others could write their stories. Say his name, not for him, but for what he stood for. Discipline, duty, and the power of being great without ever needing to be seen. Subscribe if you believe the quiet ones built everything loud men ever stood on.